Apologies. The moment you realize you're changing as a person, finally outgrowing your old problems like a reptile shedding its skin, already able to twist back around and chuckle at this weirdly antiquated caricature of yourself that will soon come off completely. This is Braininess, and this is the second episode of this season. Um, in this chapter, we are going to, it actually revolves around defining who you are from the inside out. So stay with us. Okay, here I am with Alina.
Hi.
Nick.
Hello.
And Mushfiq.
Hello.
So, in this chapter, we're going to dive into our interior self, and define who we are from the inside out, okay? Let's start with the words that we have here. We actually chose a bunch of good words again from this chapter. So, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. Okay, first one is, what is this? Liberosis. The desire to care less about things, to figure out a way to relax your grip on your life and hold it loosely and playfully, keeping it in the air like a volleyball with quick and fleeting interventions, bouncing freely in the hands of trusted friends, always in play. So, basically wanting to care less about trivial things,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like not want to stressing over everything, I guess.
Yeah, or to maybe just live more, live more in the moment or more spontaneously.
Yeah.
It could be any of these things, I guess, yeah. I mean,
I think we can all relate to that, and you just sometimes you wish that you weren't planning everything on your mind. Like for me individually, I actually relate with this part that says the desire to care less about things, and because sometimes I think I care too much about things and I want to plan everything, and it's just it goes out of my hand, I can't even control it. So what do you say?
No, it's spontaneous enough. I don't really plan that. For me, it's the
Yeah, I can tell you.
I love to believe that if a trip is spontaneous, you don't have expectations from it. So anything happens, it's fun.
Oh, let's go. Okay, now we can move on with the next one. Dementia. The post-extraction effort to recall the reason you're feeling particularly anxious or angry or excited, trying to retrace your sequence of thoughts like a kid gathering the string of a downed kite. Okay, what do you guys think? Actually, this is an interesting one.
Yeah, it's like when you're feeling everything at once and then you're trying to figure out which direction it's going.
Mm-hmm,
so you're tracing your thoughts back and you're trying to gather what you're feeling.
yeah, sometimes you have, sometimes you have, I don't know, like you're feeling anxious about something, or maybe you're even just feeling excited, but you kind of can't quite pinpoint the reasoning for that feeling. So you have to really go deep into your thoughts to realize, well, what is bothering me, or well, why am I so excited about this?
Exactly.
I mean,
you know the feeling, you kind of feel the feeling, you know what I'm trying to say, but you don't know where it's coming from, or where was the origin of that feeling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
you feel it especially when you're anxious or you feel it with negative feelings a lot more because you don't know where it started, but you feel like shit, so you're trying to retrace where it's from.
Yeah, usually you're able to figure out what, it's a lot easier to figure out what you're excited about, I think, a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times, I think, especially if you're anxious or you're upset about something, sometimes you can't really, you can't immediately even admit to yourself what that is. So you have to really think about it and come to terms with it. So
exactly. And actually, an experience I have with this is that whenever I'm feeling anxious or stressed, and when I trace it back to where was the origin, it was something very stupid that I was stressing over. But the stress was so I don't know, it was exaggerated for me.
Yeah, it's always something very small.
Exactly.
Yeah, so sometimes when you actually unravel it and you figure out what it is, you're like, well, this really isn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
but you don't know that until until you face it, I guess.
Exactly. Okay, so let's go on with the next one. True holding. The act of trying to keep an amazing discovery to yourself, fighting the urge to shout about it from the rooftops because you're afraid that it'll end up being diluted and distorted and will no longer have been created just for you.
This is like
Very relatable.
yes, it's like when something good happens to you, or like even if it's something small, you're like, okay, this is an achievement for my day. This is like something good that happened. But then you know it's not that special, so you try to keep it to yourself. But like you still want to tell someone, you know.
Exactly.
Or it could even be something that's like fresh, something that's like
Yeah.
new, or something that you might not even be completely sure about.
Yeah.
Like I've had this happen where I don't know, but I think it just comes from anxiety. But I've had times like where if I got like a grade on an exam or something, I kind of wouldn't want to say anything about it immediately because I almost feel like if I say something about it, it's just magically just gonna change. Like I'm gonna look at it again and it's gonna be a 0 or something.
Oh
So
yeah,
I
actually,
found
yeah,
that
actually, I
a
can
couple of
relate to
times,
that.
yeah.
Oh my god.
Even when you like give a really good exam and like you come back, you're like, okay, I actually did pretty well. I knew most of it, but then you don't want to jinx it, so you're like, nope, it didn't go good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was fine.
It was fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like sometimes,
Yeah.
especially if you're not completely sure,
Yeah.
you just don't want to assume anything just because you don't want to be shocked.
Yeah.
Especially if it hasn't happened yet. You
Yeah,
know,
that's
Yeah.
like you know something's about to happen and you're very excited about it, but you don't want to tell anyone because you know somehow it will be ruined.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's I don't know. I guess you could call it superstitious, but
Yeah,
but
it's
I
very
do
much-
just feel like sometimes if something like good is coming up in my life, but I'm not completely sure about it, I don't want to tell anybody about it until it's
Agree.
100% definite.
Actually, that's the
Because I
best
almost
thing.
feel like if I do, it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's also the concept of evil eye. So essentially says that like,
Well, yeah,
You have
that
the
is
evil
kind
eye
of
on you.
exactly
Yeah.
that is a common belief a lot of people have too, like with Nazar or the evil eye, like that. Yeah, if you talk about something that like good that happened to you, you'll basically jinx it. you know?
Jinx it, yeah. Exactly. Okay, let's go to the next one. You want to read?
Yeah. Fun kick. A quiet jolt of recognition that it's time to become a better version of yourself. Sensing that all the strategies that brought you this far are no longer working. That it's not enough anymore to be cute or nice or righteous or tough. As you've now entered a new phase of life, a new phase in the game of life. Moving forward with a completely different token. I feel like this happens to us a lot more because we are in that phase where you're like constantly evolving as a person and changing.
Especially when you're in your 20s. I think
Yeah.
every
Oh, yeah.
year you come to this point again
Yeah.
and again and again.
You like
Yeah.
come to a point where you're like, okay, maybe how I was doing things is not the greatest. Time to change. Time to have a different perspective. Time to have like a different way of living. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think I've had this realization like multiple times throughout my life, even within like a pretty short period of time, within like the past 5 years of my life. I mean, even when I used to live in Lithuania, and when things didn't work out for me there, and I had to leave to go home, I just kind of had this I don't know, I just had this epiphany, you know. It's like, wow, I really fucked up, you know.
Yeah.
There was so
Yeah.
like I just thought of all the things I could have done differently. And kind of like, well, I guess, they say, yeah, you can't undo the past. But I was thinking of it more in the way like, this is something you need to figure things out. You need to fix this. You can't let something like this happen again. Because you had it, because,
It's an experience,
Yeah.
right now you're not that person anymore. Like if some similar situation happens in the future for you, you know how to handle it.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. But like especially if you feel like you've squandered an opportunity or something, you kind of it kind of can sometimes like, well, I guess put a fire under your ass basically.
Yeah.
It makes you realize, is like these things don't come around often, so you really can't let yourself waste them when they do come around. So
Oh, yeah.
so that's why so I told myself the next time I got an opportunity to do something like that I really wanted to do, the next time I got the chance to go abroad, I wasn't gonna mess it up. So I
Oh.
mean, hasn't happened yet, thankfully, not for the second time, but I guess we'll see.
Okay.
It's like you get a learning lesson. You get
Yeah.
like a life lesson basically, and then you keep going, and then another point comes around where it happens again and again. You know.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add to this one? Okay. So let's go move on with the next. Alzheimer's, a sense of weariness with the same old problems that you've always had, the same boring issues and anxieties you've been gnawing on for decades, which makes you want to spit them out and dig up some fresher pain you might have buried in your mental backyard.
And this does happen a lot when you're like dealing with the same stuff over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we're sick of this. Let's
Yeah.
move on to something new. Something else devastating can happen. But like, let's move on with this one.
Yeah, or even just if it's something, I don't know, yeah, like a problem, like a personal problem you're facing or a personal struggle that you have. Like
Yeah.
sometimes you feel like sometimes you feel like you've been having this struggle for too long and you wish that you could move past it.
Mhm.
Like you feel like you feel like you should have figured it out by now, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like, like whether it's something you're
I
anxious
think
about.
I have this theory that I think actually many people have, that the same issue, the same problem will come find you like in a way, and it will
Yeah.
show it to you again and again and again until you learn your lesson from that thing. You know,
Yeah.
you have to learn your lesson so that next time you don't make the same mistake. And then actually another problem shows up, but actually you're done with this one. Okay,
Yeah.
at least you're done with this one.
And then the new one.
It's kind of-
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like that.
You go to a new level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or like it's almost like when they say if you don't learn from history, then it repeats itself. It's a
Exactly.
similar
Yeah.
concept with
Yeah.
that,
Now we're doing it again. Let's move on to the next one. Do you want to?
Carry on. An odd interval of blankness you feel after something big happens to you, but before you feel the resulting emotional reaction, stunned by sudden loss, a stroke of luck, or an unexpected visitor. Like those tension-filled seconds between a flash of lightning and the thunderclap that follows, which gives you a hint of how near you are to the coming storm. Basically, the feeling right before something hits,
Mm-hmm.
or your late reaction to something big happening, like something life-changing almost, you know?
Like it means that it already happened, or like
It
you're
happened,
trying to
yeah.
digest everything, so you
Yeah.
know what the proper reaction.
You're like trying
it
to
is.
go through the emotions, but like it hasn't hit you yet because you're not.
It's too much of a big thing that
Yeah,
you
exactly.
don't know how to react.
Like your mind can't digest it yet, so you're just like waiting for it to hit, but
Mhm.
like it hasn't hit yet.
You know, I think like for me, what I can resonate with is that when you lose someone who's a dear one, you know, like someone
Yeah.
who's so close to you, when you hear that they've passed away, I think you just don't know how to react. You know, I
Yeah.
personally have experienced that, and you're like, it's a kind of sudden shock that you're trying to digest everything, but at the same time, you don't know what the proper reaction to it is. You don't
It
know.
like
exactly.
doesn't feel real. You're like waiting for someone to be like, oh no, it's a joke, or like, oh no, they're fine, or
Yeah.
something like that.
to
But
accept the reality, so you want to keep
Exactly.
yourself in delusion.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
so you're just like waiting for like the ball to drop, but it never ends up happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on the converse, it could even be for something like really good, I guess. Or
Yeah.
like let's say you were waiting in anticipation about something you were very worried about,
Mhm.
and then it just ends up being fine.
Oh, actually, that
Yes.
is
Yeah,
Like,
that
so
happens.
it's like
Yeah.
such because sometimes you could even just feel like such a flood of relief that
Yeah, exactly.
that you actually just don't. I don't know. You initially just don't process it. You kind of blank out because you're just
Yeah.
because you were
Like it's been a burden like out of your shoulder now. Like
yeah exactly like a
Yeah.
huge burden off your shoulders.
Yeah.
Like it could even be for something like especially if it's like been a long term thing you've been
Mhm.
very worried about.
Yeah.
It's like such a huge weight being lifted off of you. You almost just don't. You don't even realize it at first.
Yeah,
like just how big of a deal it
It
is.
was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, next one. It's Typifis, a caricature of yourself that went out of date years ago, though nobody around you seems to have noticed. Oh,
And
okay.
I feel like this happens with your families a lot.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
you kind of, especially when you're not around them a lot anymore. Like after high school and stuff, you like leave for university and all of those things, and then you're changing as a person, but in their head you're still like a little kid to them.
Exactly.
Yes.
But like in the reality, you're a completely different person from who you were when you left, and you kind of feel stuck. You know, I think this happens to me in the summer a lot. When I go back, I'm like, okay, I'm a kid again. I was an adult like not even a few weeks
Like
ago.
you don't know which reality is
Yeah,
there.
it messes
Like,
with your mind a
It's
bit.
also with how you react when you're back home. Like, when once your parents, for example, with me, if they once they see you, yeah, he's acting his age, like he's more mature now. So I think they start reacting differently towards you. Maybe because they.
Always.
I
if
mean,
they-
my family, it's been mixed, I guess. You know, in some
Yeah.
ways, I feel like in some ways, I feel like they do treat me more like an adult. But I feel like there's some very like critical places where they still just view
Yeah.
me as a kid, and that's
They
when it
switch
gets
Well,
back.
they're your parents. Obviously, they
Yeah.
will always be there.
Oh, yeah, of
My
course,
grandma's like 70. My dad is still his kid.
Yeah, of
So
course, yeah.
you'll always be their kid. But like I think how you act determines like how they treat you. Maybe in most cases, that's what I've noticed.
No, of course. Well, like if you acted a certain way as a kid, but then you've changed as an adult, yeah. I mean, in a way, I feel like especially because, well, you know, your family remembers you that way for your entire life, they're probably just not going to. I don't know. They're not going to quite process that you're a different person now a lot of times. Especially in our case, since we don't spend a lot of we don't really spend a lot of time at home anymore since we're abroad all the time studying abroad. So. Like I face that issue every time when I go back home. My family views me as who I was as a kid. So they kind of, because I was someone who never really had strong opinions, I didn't speak up a lot. I was painfully shy as a kid. Even now I consider myself an introvert, but now I have become a lot more open in general.
yeah, you
So they don't-
outgrow that
Exactly.
shyness of yours.
Yeah, exactly.
That shyness traits.
But
Yeah.
consequentially now, my family, I almost feel like sometimes they just don't take me seriously
They
when
think
I
they
try to
want,
talk to
Yeah.
them.
they want you to be a kid because they like it that way. But they don't want to accept that you're an adult.
Well, I think that I think that they have a vision of me that they just aren't really able to outgrow themselves because they got so
Maybe
used
they
to
don't
it.
want to. Maybe that's also a question. You know, maybe they are. They obviously they
Yeah.
know, okay, like he's a grown man.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
they
in
would
this,
like to
in
believe
this
he's
case,
still a
I'm
kid.
talking more about my extended family though. Like with my immediate family, of course, you know, like my parents, you know, obviously, you know, like that goes back to what you said, you know, that your parents are always going to view you as their kid, you know, you're
Yeah,
always
but-
going to be a little kid in their mind, at least to some
Yeah.
extent. But I mean more like with your extended family who you spend time with growing up. They're the ones I think who might give you even more trouble with that because they don't, well, because I think, well, one, you don't really have as much contact with them, and and you might not be as close with them, obviously, as you are with your parents.
They
and all
still
of that.
have a vision of you that they had like as you as a child, you
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
So and if you haven't been in contact with them like for a while, I think yeah that would take like they would never just see you as who you are right now.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
Okay, let's move on with the next one. We have astosis. The state of feeling trapped inside your own subjective tastes, not knowing why you find certain things beautiful or ugly, only that you do. Wishing you could remove the socio-psychological lenses from your eyes so you could see the beauty in anything and moved to tears by the smell of burning garbage, the area of a screaming toddler, or a neon Elvis painted on black velvet. Okay, this is an odd one, but like it's kind of interesting, you know, because do you think if we haven't been taught that we should hate the smell of garbage, we would still hate the smell of it? No, seriously.
I feel like it's a disgusting smell, and I think no one was like hate the smell of garbage. You just.
How do you know? Maybe
I mean,
it's
someone who lives in garbage does not hate it. I mean, that's also a perspective you have to take in.
I mean, it's hard to say really. I do feel like there's a lot of things where it's just considered common knowledge that that thing smells bad. So I think for that reason, there are certain things that even if we have never really smelled it before. I mean, I think most people have smelled garbage before, so that's kind of. But with certain other things, like for example, there's the durian fruit, which is like considered to be like the worst smelling fruit in the world.
oh. Okay.
But that's just because that's what people say. That's everyone just says it smells really bad. But I'm
So
curious.
you already have a background.
Yeah,
of
exactly.
what
So
you
now,
said.
so now anyone who smells it just immediately says, "Oh, this is awful." But I'm curious if no one ever told us that. Well, and we just experienced it for the first time ourselves, would we think that?
Smell is also a very personal thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Some people like a certain kind of smell, some don't.
Actually, that is very true as well. even
Maybe
when it
someone
comes to-
likes the smell of garbage.
Even when it-
There has to be someone
I
out
mean,
there.
I'm-
Yeah, there has to be someone.
I mean, I'm sure there's.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's someone out there. Why not? I mean, there's people out there who love the smell of gasoline. I don't know,
Exactly,
yeah,
my-
you know.
Oh, actually, that is something
Yeah.
else. Like that is something to do with I think lack
I
of
feel
some
attacked.
kind of vitamin in your body. You know.
It's a,
I feel attacked.
When we used to go to a gas station, I would just open the window. It's
It
difference.
smells nice. It's
I also liked it as a
no,
kid.
yeah, exactly. Like, no, I mean, a lot of
I
people.
won't say it's
find
nice. I would just put it like it's a different smell. I enjoy it, but I
It
won't.
smells toxic, but it smells nice toxic.
Exactly.
I don't know how
Yeah,
to
there's
explain
certain,
it,
no,
but
there
that's-
are certain things that are like
Okay,
it.
yeah.
I don't know. You can't
It's
really
like a
explain
nice
well, yeah, you
toxicity.
can't explain why you like it or
Yeah.
why you don't like it.
Mhm.
But yeah, but I think that what the point of this one was is that sometimes you want like I guess it's about wishing that you could see it differently or that you can find beauty in things that other people did.
Oh, yeah.
Because there are some things that we
Mhm.
just don't like.
Yeah.
I think.
Speaking on the gasoline topic, have you ever wanted? I am so sorry. It's okay. Have you ever wanted to drink it?
Actually, I
Doesn't
think
taste
I
good.
have had it.
I mean,
But
It doesn't. I assume it doesn't taste good.
Sounds like you're speaking from experience.
I went through a phase where if I liked the way something smelled, or even if I just liked the color of it, I just assumed it probably tastes good.
now we're going to the next one. We have apologies. The moment you realize you're changing as a person, finally outgrowing your old problems like a reptile shedding its skin, already able to twist back around and chuckle at this weirdly antiquated caricature of yourself that will soon come off completely. Okay, so
No, I mean, I feel like I've had this. I've had this
Yeah.
realization a lot of times. I think that this is just like when you can look back at the past and realize the things that you used to do,
mhm.
like maybe things that you did wrong, or just in general stuff that you didn't like about yourself, like or things that maybe at the time you didn't think anything of it, but now looking back you realize that wasn't right. But I'm not that person anymore, which is a good thing. Like it's
You'll
basically
learn-
like realizing you've come a long way. As a person.
Exactly. I think now this word actually says that you have finally learned a lesson.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
outgrowing your old problems, and so that new problems will come in.
Yeah.
Not that life will just not stop throwing
Yeah.
problems
Yeah,
at
it's
you.
like when you realize you finally evolve and change as a person.
Sorry.
I would not agree to the philosophy. Finish the last problem, make new for the.
I mean,
No, it's
how
kind
life
of-
works. It's not problems per se. It's a new situation.
New challenge.
Situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. New challenge.
That's a
Situation.
better way to put it.
Okay. So let's go on with the next one.
Flictish. Nervously aware of how much of your self-image is based on untested assumptions about yourself. Only ever guessing how you'd react to a violent threat, a sudden windfall, a huge responsibility, or being told to do something you knew was wrong. Actually, okay, most of my self-image comes from people's opinions, which is a downfall I've noticed about myself. But a lot of it also comes from assumptions I've made about myself, even though I know internally that they aren't true. But for some reason, even though there's like no evidence against it, there's a lot of bad assumptions I make about myself based off of what other people would think,
Yeah.
And it makes you feel like a fraud sometimes, because it's like, okay, I know I am not this way, but how do I prove myself otherwise? This isn't how I am,
But what way I am?
Yourself
Yeah.
or other people?
To myself and to other people.
Why
Or
do you think
what
the other
I
people is
think.
that question in the first place?
Oh, that's just this flaw that I have.
Everyone has that.
Most people have that, but
No,
like
I
it
would
is.
say everyone has that.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone is
Everyone has
not.
it to some extent,
Yeah.
It's like it's really just it's a form of self-doubt, and I think
Yeah.
everyone's had that at some point. Because sometimes, well, I mean, I think it's inevitable that sometimes we're going to assume that people think certain things about us because I guess in a way though I think it kind of reflects back to us, like maybe the reason why we think people think that way about us is because deep
We
down
think
that's
that,
how we
yeah.
feel
How
about
we feel
ourselves.
about
Yeah,
ourselves.
you
Yeah.
that philosophy.
Yeah.
Actually, this reminds me of an episode I did like in my last season about beliefs that I was talking about, because I also had this idea that do I own my beliefs, like the beliefs that I have, whatever I believe in, are they truly mine or are they imposed on me like by whatever environment I've been grown in?
But
Okay,
I won't say
so.
imposed, but obviously you do get the idea from somewhere, and then if someone you're very close.
But do you question it? You know, that's the point. Like, because I tend to question everything, like most of the beliefs that I have. Like, I try to. Have you ever tried writing down even what you believe in or what is truly your own belief and it's not imposed on you? You know, and then that's when you truly know, okay, you believe in this thing and you want to accept it as your own, like as part of your identity.
It's
But before that, you can't really say it's who you are or it's what you actually believe in.
yeah.
Genuinely.
No, I think that again we are like in the end we are the product of our experiences and our environments in a way.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true.
of course, we all react to it in a unique way, and that's kind of what helps us to form our beliefs. So, I think that just because technically that belief comes from somewhere, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's imposed upon us.
Mhm.
It could just be because, again, it's the product of an experience that we had. So,
But
I
you would
mean,
never know until you question
Yes.
it and until you actually get some kind of awareness about that belief that you have. Because some people act in a way, and the way they act is a product of their belief, okay? And they don't know why they're acting a certain ways.
Yeah, I guess sometimes we don't know why we believe something as well. Because again, because sometimes things are imposed upon us. There are certain values or certain ideas that are taught to us from a very young age, but but we didn't really choose to have those ideas if you think about it that way because, well, actually it was our parents or it was our families or maybe it was society that told us this is how you should think about something.
That is where the university part kicks in, right? That you have to know like what's right for you and what is not right for you.
Yeah.
You have endless options here. You don't have any parents. I mean, there's a masjid and there's a bar right next to each other. It's your decision which one you want to do.
That's really funny. It comes with growing up that you have to like start forming your own opinions, your own
I don't think it has to be
ideologies.
growing up. It comes
It is
with
part of
no, it
growing
comes
up.
with how much like privacy you're given, like how much
I mean-
decision making power you're given. For example, I would gladly say it's not the university; it's a different country. If my parents would still be here, I don't think my age would matter. They'd still pretend to be like how do I put it? Like they would try to shape your lives because they don't want a bad thing for you. It's just like they were like, this is a tried and tested method. You fall into that method. Like you do this.
It doesn't necessarily have to do with your parents.
Yeah.
You know,
It could
we're
be
talking
something
about
else.
anything.
Yeah, it could just be the world around you in general.
Yeah.
Like again, like
Any
experience
belief that you have, maybe it doesn't make sense to you when you put it in, like when you even write it down and you think about it, maybe it doesn't make sense to you. We're not talking about only parents, like a certain way that they have taught you things.
It's like what I am referring to is the belief system for most people comes from their parents because that's the people they spend the most time with.
Until some age, yeah, but after that, it's actually a lot of other factors are affecting
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. For me, what most of the beliefs I started questioning was after I came to university. Because I didn't really question. I was like, "How you're saying it's for now? It's my own choice to make a decision."
Okay.
Like in that sense, for example, you question like, is it important to do charity or is it important to do like this and that? These are things where like, why do you do it? And then if you even like after for yourself you decide it's good for you, then that's when you do it. If that makes sense.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, when you're out on your own, you become free from certain influences, and then you're able to sit down and think about why you actually do these things, or if it's something that you would do on your own if you weren't being told to do it by somebody else.
Exactly.
So it's kind of the ultimate test of if you really believe in that thing, because if you do, then you'll continue doing it even without anyone or anything
Anyone
forcing
pushing
you
you
to
to
do
do
that.
it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, let's move on to the next one.
In Stoicism.
No,
I did this one.
Yeah.
Okay. The next one's insocism, the inability to decide how much sympathy your situation really deserves, knowing that so many people have it far worse and others far better. That some people would need years of therapy to overcome what you have, while others would barely think to mention it in their diary that day. It's actually an interesting one because it's a judgment that you do to yourself, you know. It's like a situation happens to you, or like you're thinking about something, and then you're like, am I being dramatic? Am I giving it too much weight? And is this something like people go through daily, or
That is also an extra pressure, you know?
Yeah.
Because the thing itself requires some extent of like sympathy, or I don't know, like you have to feel it, you know, the thing that is happening to you. But when you start questioning that, okay, should I feel that way? Am I over exaggerating it, or is it like am I neglecting it, or maybe? So that also puts more pressure behind it, because you don't let yourself to just feel it like the way it's happening without any question.
Yeah, exactly, because you're too busy thinking about whether or not, well, it's actually okay to have that reaction to it. But I do feel like, well, everyone's experiences are going to be unique to them. Like how they react to it is, you know, it depends on their circumstances. Like what might be a disaster for one person could be nothing to another person.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean that it isn't like a tragic thing, you know, because it's all about what you're accustomed to experience.
And it also-
What's your priority? What you said to be your priority? If like the other person does not care about like, the same things, it obviously doesn't care about them. If, for example, you're cooking something and it did not turn out to be the way you liked it, maybe it's for another person they'll just eat it, but maybe it's a bigger deal for you than it is for other people. It depends on everyone's personal.
Yeah.
And like I think all struggles are valid struggles at the end of the day. You can't ever tell someone that it's not all right to feel upset about this because someone has it worse than you. I mean, yes, of course there's a lot of terrible things going on in the world. And you know, a lot of people, like, you know, if you want to look at it that way, yes, like I think a lot of us, you know, because we're like all of us in this room are comparatively privileged to you know, to a lot of other people in the world, because we're able to pursue our education abroad. Our parents are helping us to do that, and a lot of other people aren't fortunate in that way. But it doesn't mean that we ourselves don't still have struggles of our own, which are also valid.
It doesn't make it any less tragic. Like
Yeah.
if something happens to you, like if you're struggling, it doesn't make it like any less like valuable, you know?
Yeah, exactly. A tragedy is a tragedy.
A tragedy is a tragedy. Yeah.
It's like unfair to yourself to like give it less meaning by like trying to downplay, be like, oh, I'm privileged in other places, this shouldn't matter too much to me. And like, you're feeling something, let it happen.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, your mental health is something that, well, by doing that, you're neglecting your mental health. If you decide to suppress your feelings, it's
Even the
because
fact like mental health is a privilege altogether. Like we're fortunate enough to like think about and like actually work on our mental health, whereas there are many people who
but again, but because we have that, I mean that can be our struggle.
Exactly.
There are other people who their struggle might be something different, because they can be in a place that, I mean, well, you know, unfortunately, that's so bad where mental health isn't
not
even something they
It's
think
not
about.
something
Yeah, which means that their struggle is different. But but I guess both are struggles in their own respect.
capacity.
Yeah, they're still valid.
You cannot demean someone's
Yes.
struggle.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, exactly.
It's
You
the
don't
same,
demean it. You don't
it's the
demean it
same.
either way.
But like even if a kid does not get a toffee, it's the same amount of struggle as an adult. Because for us, we just don't think of it as important as, you know, for a kid. Like
Yeah.
it's more important for a kid.
Yeah. Because because I think also to do this, it's not like you aren't recognizing that you do have that you are in a privileged position, or that you do have a lot. Like you can appreciate the things that you have while still recognizing that something bad has happened in your life.
Exactly.
You know, just because you have a lot of things going well for you doesn't mean it's impossible for something to go bad. And acknowledging that doesn't make you unappreciative. It doesn't make you
So
spoiled.
you have to understand the people you are telling this to. If you're talking about, oh, like one of my car's engine is not working and the other person is dirt poor, doesn't have anything to, obviously he will look at you and will be like, no, that's not a real struggle. I feel like you have to understand the people you tell the struggle to.
Oh yeah, that's
Well, of
also
course,
a thing.
you can see it
Yeah.
from their point of view as well. Because if you're going through because if you're in a position like that, yeah, then definitely. I mean, because I guess that we're always wishing that we were in someone
Else's
yeah,
place.
yeah, we're in someone else's place. Like if someone appears to have it better than us, we're of course going to view their struggles as more trivial because we can't really see it from their perspective.
Yeah, we can relate with their struggles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really all it is. But again, that doesn't mean that it isn't valid, but it does mean that, well, sometimes, well, yeah, we're not able to understand other people's struggles because we're just not at that same, we're not living the same life.
Exactly. Okay, let's move on to the next one. We have anoshatia, the anxiety of not knowing the real you. I think again this one also has to do with knowing your potentials and what the things that you're capable of, and you sometimes like there are things that you're capable of, but you'll never just realize or find out. Like there are a lot of branches of art that you may be talented in, but unless you try it, you'll never find out about it.
Yeah, I think it's just part of like self-discovery and stuff. Like, there comes a point where you're like, am I like posing as a different person? Am I just feeding off of people's experiences, or is this the real authentic me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 We're too young to find like what the real authentic us is. So
Yeah.
also the thing is we have lived like a very very small portion of our life to like figure out. We just got freedom to do what we want to do.
Exactly.
In our case, so in my case specifically, but also it's like you just do more and more things, and you figure out like you just push yourself.
Yeah, we're
to
tasting
yourself.
the waters and stuff right now. Yeah,
Like everyone has the potential to do whatever they want.
exactly.
How much hard will they are.
Let's move on to the next one. Here we have adulthood, I think so. Unable to settle the question of whether you're doing okay in life, feeling torn between conflicting value systems and movable goalposts, which makes you long for someone to come along and score your progress in discrete and measurable units. Points, dollars, friends, followers, or a grade point average, which may not clear up where you're going, but would at least reassure you that you're one step closer to getting there. Okay, so this is basically, okay, we'll put it this way, the inability to settle the question that where you're standing on your, to reach your goal.
Like,
you know?
are you doing good in life? Are you like?
Yeah. Or are you doing as
Obviously-
much as you can
Yeah.
to accomplish what you want?
Like, obviously, we're not at an end point. We're not
The
ever
question
gonna.
here, are you satisfied with yourself?
No, that's not the question.
Well,
The-
it's more like
It's
if
like
you
you
feel
want someone to tell you, oh, you're doing pretty good.
In discrete measures,
yeah.
you know, like on a scale of 1 to 100, you're like, it would tell you where you're standing.
Yeah, kind of like your GPA, where it's like, oh, you're doing really good. You're like high honors. You're doing really bad, and like you're mediocre. That kind of scale. Like not obviously not as black and white as that one, but like. It's something similar to that where it makes you feel less like a fraud in your own life and that you aren't doing enough, and it like assures you that okay, you're doing the correct amount. You can do more, you can do less, but you're still on the right
At
path.
least it's
Satisfied
counting,
with
you know?
Yeah.
Being what
Like-
you are,
Yeah.
being satisfactory to what you are. Being like happy with yourself and okay, I've achieved enough and I'm doing the best I can. Is that the thing?
it's I guess it can be in a way.
So what she
Yeah.
described was exactly being happy with yourself with whatever.
Yeah, like but it's
happy.
like yeah
But it's
exactly.
like
But it's
putting
like
a number on it.
yeah exactly. It's like are you doing like are you doing as well as you could be?
Yeah.
And this word specifically is talking about that you're unable to do that. You
Yeah.
know, like you know that like life, like there's some like intangible things, like goals are intangible and you can't really measure them. You know, and so this is the inability to like measure how you're doing in life in general.
Yeah.
So and let's move on to the next one.
Bare leveling, trying to improve yourself without anyone else knowing about it, afraid that they'll think it's silly or grandiose or unnecessary, or that they'll end up calling too much attention to your efforts, transforming a casual tweak into a flashy rebranding campaign.
Okay. I mean, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
I feel like I've felt that way before. Like, because sometimes, well, I guess sometimes there's something that you would like to get better at, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you want to make a show of it.
Yeah.
Look, that's the thing.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, because especially if it's something that you want to be subtle in general, or it's something that, I don't know, it's something that you don't really want to talk about.
We don't want the attention about it, but like, yeah, I'm doing it. Like, you don't want everyone telling me, like, do it or like.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in some cases, encouragement could be a good thing. Like, I don't know, maybe you're trying to go to the gym and you're trying to, get more fit. And in some cases, people noticing changes in you and encouraging you can be a good thing.
Mhm.
But there's certain other things, like more subtle things, like just like self-improvement, like maybe improving certain aspects of how you interact with people. Like maybe someone notices that, like, I don't know, maybe you don't make eye contact enough with people when you're trying to talk to them, and someone points out, like, oh, you're making, like, oh wow, you've been much better at looking at me when you're
Yeah.
talking to me. It
I
kind of
feel like
makes
that
it
came from somewhere
it makes it
within.
awkward. No,
Yeah, it does make it
no, but what I'm
awkward.
saying, like, this is an example, like, it kind of makes it awkward, and then it almost makes you feel like now you don't really want to do it. Now it kind of undoes the progress because
Like-
they have to point it out. Because it makes
Exactly,
you
I
more
get it.
conscious of the effort.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's like
Yeah.
when you're like trying to up your style, or you're like trying to do something differently, something very small that's
And
like,
then someone just
Yeah.
points it out, and you're like,
okay, maybe I shouldn't, and then you like kind of feel like you should stop doing it, because like why did you feel the need to point it out?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like they should.
It
Like
makes you
you're
feel-
already kind of somewhat insecure about that thing.
Yeah.
You're trying to improve it, but when someone points it out, you're like,
You
okay.
become conscious about it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. It makes you feel like maybe it was more of a problem than you realized,
Mhm.
and then you feel less confident about it as a result. of
Yeah.
that.
Exactly. Okay, and the last one here is Hovism. The frustration of being stuck inside your own head, unable to see your face or read your body language in a context, only ever guessing how you might be coming across, which makes you think of yourself as a detached observer squinting out at a lushly painted landscape, though to everyone else you seem woven right into the canvas.
It's also like how much how much do you think other people think about you? So essentially,
Yeah,
it comes
it
to that.
comes with your like self-image and stuff.
Yeah, so if you were saying something, you're more conscious of what the other person would react rather than you just want to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think it also like it more has to do with how you come across other people, and you never know like how you sound, how you like what image like what you seem like to other people,
Yeah.
and you'll just always guess like, okay, do I seem like, for example, to Alina, do I seem like this to Alina, do I seem like this certain way to Nicholas?
It's also what Nick said, like that is feeling like way within in what you think of yourself, you will try to project it onto others. But like imagine he is thinking this about me, but in reality it's just you thinking that about yourself.
Exactly.
Well, yeah,
I do believe like no one really thinks about other people. Like, I feel like everyone.
People are busy about them.
I mean, that's the reality of the
Yeah,
situation.
no one really cares about like. I mean, they would like if it's a friend or something, they would, but like not to an extent when one thinks they do.
Yeah, I mean, deep down, I think we can usually realize that, people are too caught up in their own stuff to really pay much attention to our, to, I don't know, to how we speak or how we're coming off, unless it's something like very extreme, obviously.
Yeah.
Like to the point where it'd be memorable. But usually at that point, I think that we're more likely to, I guess, at that point, if you're coming off of that extremely, you're probably aware of it anyway at that point. And maybe you don't care that you're coming off that way.
Exactly.
I mean, there are exceptions, obviously. There are times where we come off a way that we didn't mean to, and people do notice. Like maybe you say something you didn't mean to, or you say something that's rude, but you didn't mean it to be rude.
It wasn't your intention,
It was just a misunderstanding of the
Yeah.
situation or the context. But I feel like most of the time, it is really just it is really just our own kind of self-doubt. If we're assuming like that people think that we came off especially if it's something negative, it's a lot of times it's our own self-doubt, and we're
Although
kind
how
of-
much importance you give to people is also like if
Yeah.
someone or maybe he's someone you want to impress or talking to them, you're much more conscious of how you're how you're looked at. Why are you looking at me like that?
Okay, guys.
This is a very questionable face while looking.
So yeah, do you guys have anything else to add here?
Yeah.
This one, no, I wouldn't say.
No.
Okay, so that was pretty much about this chapter.
Oh, wait, that was
second
the last
chapter.
one?
Yeah, that was the last
Okay.
one.
Okay. Oh yeah,
Time
yeah,
flies.
it was. Yeah. Okay.
So again, I'm going to say this chapter 2 was defining who you are from the inside out. That was the whole idea of this chapter. Thank you for listening and see you in the next one.